Welcome back. We're going to our Skype segment now, and we're going to go out to Al Curtis. Al, how you doing tonight?
Doing great, Leo. Thanks for having me on, my friend.
I'll tell you, thanks for joining us. Al, you and Ken are NFC aficionados. You do the Redskins and you do the Giants. Let's talk about the G-Men first. They drafted tight end Evan Ingram in the first round. Good pick or bad pick out of Mississippi?
You know what? It's a good pick, Leo. There was discussion on whether they should have moved up and grabbed, O.J. Howard from Alabama, who's with Tampa now, because he is the prototypical Giant tight end. He's the Mark Bavaro tight end. Line up in a three-point stance, can block, can catch. He can do it all as a tight end. With Ingram, they got a kid he's gonna be a two-point stance tight end. He's gonna line up in a slot. I don't see him much in a three-point stance blocking. It came really down to Ingram and Njoku. Njoku out of Miami was a Jersey kid. And I think he was a little bit better blocker than Ingram. But again, I think they went with the Ingram kid. They're looking for explosiveness. So right now, Eli Manning has a lot of people to throw to, but I don't see a lot of three-point stance coming out of Ingram.
Al, in the second round, they go with Alabama, but not really one of the stars. They go with defensive tackle Dalvin Tomlinson. Not your household name in Tuscaloosa. Is he going to help the Giants' defensive core?
Yes, he is. Leo, he's going to help right away. The young man lost both of his parents when he was young. He's motivated. That story is going to resonate in New York. The draft says he's stout at the point of attack. He's got good arm length, and he's got a great punch. Not going to get a lot of sacks. I see him playing inside a lot. But again, he's going to be stout at the point of attack, so yes, he will help the Giants. And in the NFC East, everybody needs help on defense.
Al, the Giants then, in the third round, take quarterback Davis Webb out of California. They said he was the highest guy on their board. And here's a novel thought. They didn't interview him, but they went on film study. They watched his game. When you talk to the head coach there, Ben McAdoo, he said, we didn't interview him. We saw him on film. Novel thought, huh, Al?
I got all that, Leo, but here's the problem. He's only was at Cal for 1 year. He went there after losing the starting battle with Patrick Mahomes, who's with Kansas City. So he's there, and his critics are saying, struggles with accuracy and decision-making. Those are two, words you don't want to hear from an NFL quarterback. Do I see him with the Giants for a year? Yeah. Do I see him maybe developing? Possibly. Is he their long-term solution? Probably not. I hope I'm wrong, but probably not their long-term solution.
Al, you and I normally don't get excited about fourth-round picks, but Wayne Gallman, I think, is the steal of the draft for the Giants. Runs hard, blocks like a guard, catches like a wide receiver. Can he become an everyday back for the Giants?
You love him, Leo, because he's from Clemson.
Absolutely.
All right, let's get that down right now.
You got it.
But right now, the Giants see him as a compliment to Paul Pierce. He's a counterbalance to Pierce. What I like about the kid, he's a one-cut downhill runner. He's going to get the ball. He's going to go. He's going to get you 3 to 4 yards. But yes, he can be a three-down back. He had to block a lot with Clemson. So yes, can he help the Giants? Can he be a three-down back? Absolutely. I think he's a real good pick for them. Even though, again, he is from Clemson. I do like Clemson, Leo, just not as much as you.
Well, that's expected. My money and my son went there. You got to talk about that. Al, let's go to Washington. Jonathan Allen, I got as a top 5 pick. He falls all the way to the Redskins down in the middle, 15, 16, 17, right there. He's still available. This was a no-brainer, wasn't it?
No-brainer. No-brainer, Leo. I mean, why did teams pass on him? 2 shoulders. I'm butchering this, but 2 shoulder surgeries, okay? Already with a hit of arthritis in one of those. Teams were wary of, could he handle the pounding required to play the defensive line in the NFL? That is why he dropped. With all that said, Leo, the kid never missed a game in 2 years at Alabama. You're talking Alabama. Never missed a game in 2 years. Was the Bronco Nagurski Award winner as the best defensive player in college. Kid's a football player, Leo. So if you can get whatever you get out of him, I think it was a great pick. I really do. And I'm, again, wishing the best for the kid. The kid is saying, look, it's going to be a long-term thing with the shoulders. The arthritis is there. It's something I have to worry about after my playing career, not right now. So I think it was a great pick. And again, everybody needs defensive help in the NFC East.
Boy, and Washington on day 2 goes the same way. They're going to go with a linebacker, another Crimson Tide grad, and they're going to go with UCLA for a cornerback. So you got Fabian Moreau, cornerback out of UCLA. You got a linebacker, Ryan Anderson, not one of the, star qualities, but hey, Alabama, they just reload down there, don't they? These are 2 good players.
Oh, yeah. And again, when you're going against Dallas, and now you're looking at what the Giants are doing, how the Giants are going to spread you out all over the field offensively, you need defensive help. So what the Redskins did defensively, I love. I mean, they're getting young, they're getting kids that can run, they're getting kids who can play. So they're getting athletes on the defensive side. What I didn't understand is what's going on offensively. I mean, they let a lot of good guys go and haven't replaced them. So, I hope to win games 13-12 at this point, because they've got to get an offense down there to complement that defense that they're starting to build.
Now we talk about offense with the Redskins in the 4th round. They take a running back. They take Samaje Perine out of Oklahoma. They got that kind of guy. Why?
You know what? And again, Leo, he's not a wasted pick. I mean, he's the all-time #1 rushing leader in yardage at Oklahoma.
That's a lot of people, isn't it?
Adrian Peterson. I mean, you're talking about a kid that can play, And again, he's low to the ground. He's a workhorse type of runner. If they're trying to build that type of offense, John Riggins' smaller version, that's what they're getting in this kid.
Al, it pains me to say this, but I got Dallas still as the top dog in that division. How do you think it's going to play out in December?
Leo, I agree with you. However, they were 13-3 last year. All right, I don't see them winning 13 games this year. They're going to lose at least 2 more games. So now you're looking at 11-5, and that's where the Giants were last year. What do the Giants need to do? Well, they need to get a running game to support Eli, and they need an offensive line. That's the one area they still haven't addressed. So the Giants were 11-5 last year, and I see them slipping a little bit. So you got Dallas, I think, at 11-5. Giants at 10-6. The Eagles, it's going to come down to what Wentz and all these new weapons can do offensively. If Wentz and the new weapons can get going, I think they're right in the mix. I think they're right in that mix at 10-6, 11-5. And with the Redskins, look, again, I like what they're doing defensively, but I think they're going to fall to the bottom of the pack here in the NFC East. Just too many weapons left offensively. The cupboard's a little bit bare there, and I just don't know if they're going to be able to compete enough with the other 3 teams. I'm sorry.
Al, I think 10-6 may win this division. What do you think?
You know what, Leo? I'm going to say 11-5. I don't see Dallas losing more than 2 games next year. I mean, they're going to come back to the pack a little bit. Quarterback's not going to be able to play as well as he did. The running game will still be there. But, again, they got away without injuries last year. Leo, they get banged up. They get nicked up. You're right. 10-6 could be that. But right now, if they stay healthy, I see the Cowboys 11-5.
Al Curtis, thank you for your time. And we got this on film, so I'm coming back and find out Wayne Gallman's going to help the Giants. Al, thanks for that.
Hey, Leo, great talking to you. Thanks for having me on. And we'll be seeing each other soon.
Absolutely. Ladies and gentlemen, we're back with Ken Polak to talk about the Eagles and the dreaded Dallas Cowboys. See you soon. We're back. We're going to Ken Polak up in New Jersey. Kenny, how you doing tonight?
Leo, I'm living the dream up here. How you doing?
Hey, it's Tampa, Florida, so it's summer all the time. Ken, you're our Dallas Cowboy and Philadelphia Eagles aficionado for Night Sports Productions. Let's look at the Eagles first. Defensive end Derek Barnett from Tennessee fell right to the Eagles at 14. Good pick or not?
Well, Leo, before I answer that, I just need to take a sip of my Kool-Aid here from the Eagles. And now that I'm lined up internally here, I think that the Eagles really made a safe pick with Derek Barnett. The fans were really looking for some better-known names like a Solomon Thomas out of Alabama or Charles Harris out of Missouri, who went to the Dolphins as pick number 22. But the Eagles chose Barnett. Breaking an all-century players college record like Reggie White, which he did, doesn't make you that player in the pros, but it does make for some interesting off-season headlines and fantasy sleepers. The reality is that the experiment of switching Connor Barwin from outside linebacker to a hand-in-the-dirt defensive end didn't work, but Barnett is aiming to fix that soft spot in the Eagles' defense. On paper, Barnett has the skills to compete against the league's best offensive tackles each week, and I'm looking forward to seeing how he develops in that role.
You know, Kenny, the Eagles got 2 picks in the 4th round, and they went offense with both. Normally, you and I, we don't get excited with 4th-round picks, but both of these are intriguing. Mac Hollins from North Carolina, 6'4" wideout, and all of a sudden, you got a guy next to Alphon Jeffries. They're going to have bookends at receivers. How do you think Hollins is going to work out?
Well, you know what, Leo? We know more about his exotic animal collection, namely his snakes and cichlids, than we know about how much he might be able to help the Eagles' passing game. But the reality is, I expect him to earn his way onto the team by starting on special teams, which he did nicely at North Carolina. He's an underrated route runner, but as you know, the road to hell is paved with underrated route runners. Can you say Nelson Aguilar? So anyway, in order for Hollins to be successful, scheme has to help him get open. Remember that 1 foot of separation is huge when throwing into the small NFL windows.
Ken, the other 4th-round pick, running back Donnell Pumphrey from San Diego State. This isn't chopped liver here. The guy's got 6,400 plus yards from scrimmage. Are we looking at the second coming of Sproles, or are we looking at the second coming of Westbrook?
Wow, you must have drank the Kool-Aid, Leo. Sproles and Westbrook are all-pro players, in my opinion, because they make us change how you play defense against them. The reality is that if Pumphrey can surprise some defenses, then the Eagles were lucky to pick him. Not saying he's a bad guy, just that at 175 pounds, I need to see him make some big, fast people miss at the pro level before comparing him to proven talents like Sproles and Westbrook. I would say good luck, kid. Let me know how it works out for you.
Kenny, the Eagles took a futures pick in the 2nd round with Washington quarterback Sidney Jones. Probably a 1st rounder, but he blew out his Achilles at his pro day in March. That's not the modus operandi for the Eagles to take somebody down the road. But this is a guy who's another big corner. Again, we're looking at another Bobby Taylor, maybe?
Well, yes, if you're a glasses half full kind of person, and no, if you're from Missouri. Show me you're able to return to your pre-injury form in order for this bet to pay off. Remember, 1 foot of separation works both ways in the NFL, and if he doesn't make it 100% back, then it may have been a wasted pick at that point. You know, he tore his Achilles, he didn't rupture it, and he's really young, so that really improves his chances of success, but it doesn't guarantee a payoff on this bet. It's a given that this draft was heavy in the cornerback position. Philly could have taken Chidobe Awuzie, who's the 6th best ranked cornerback in the draft out of Colorado, but the Cowboys took him at 28th in the 2nd round instead of the risky Sidney Jones. Philly will get to relive this selection twice a year, so we'll have to keep our eye on this selection.
Ken, did the Eagles double down a corner when they took Raul Douglas from West Virginia, another big corner, a 6'2" guy? And we know what Bobby Taylor meant to Jimmy Johnson's defense. What's this going to mean to Schwartz's defense?
Well, Leo, that would be great, but let's just talk about reality. Douglas out of West Virginia was the 35th pick in the 3rd round, and he was the 16th best cornerback in the draft, as rated by some. Philly fans were hoping for somebody rated higher, maybe like a Fabian Moreau, the 5th highest ranked cornerback by some in the draft, or maybe a Marshawn Lattimore, but he was gone by the time the Eagles made the selection. So the fan base maybe feels that Philly waited a little too long to reload at the cornerback position, which was a well-known weakness in the 7-9 record from last season. So reality is, Philly's defensive line was unable to get home without blitzing last season, which exposed the weakness at cornerback. And the offensive coordinators in the league picked up on this early and often. That, combined with the rookie quarterback feeling his way through how tough it is to score in the red zone, turned out to be a 1-2 punch for many games in Philly. So as we like to say in Philly, keeping it real, just keeping it real, right?
Absolutely. Ken, Carson Wentz had a decent year at quarterback. Nobody ever stays the same year to year. Do you expect him to regress now they got 16 game films on him, or you expect him to get better?
No, I do expect him to get better, Leo. He's much more of a cerebral quarterback than I think even the hype has given him. He's got a tremendous maturity factor about him. All that is true. I've seen him in a couple of interviews, even lately, and he comes across as a genuine student of the game, a real leader, a guy that you want out in front of your team, even from the press podium.
Ken, the Eagles had a lot of holes to fill. Are there still ones they got to address?
You know what they've done, Leo? They filled the holes, but we're unsure of whether it's going to gel or not, as all good teams do. If you were to compare them to, say, somebody like the Patriots are blue bloods, true and true. They don't need time to gel because they've got some extremely strong leadership on the team. Carson Wentz is going to be that leader in the years to come. May not be there this year 100%, but I think we'll see some significant steps going forward.
Kenny, it pains you and I to both say this, but everybody's looking up at Dallas. Al Curtis brought up a great point. 13-3, he thinks that's unrealistic for Dallas. Do you see the same thing? And what three teams do you think is going to challenge the Cowboys for that top spot in December?
Well, you know what? I do agree with Coach Al, but for a little different reason. There have been some changes on the Cowboys' defensive side. I think they lost a lot of their defensive backfield, so that's going to take some of the pressure that we're able to relieve and put it back on the offense next year. So I don't see them returning to a 13-win season. I do see the Eagles press them a little bit, and I think we're going to see another tough knockdown drag-out in the NFC East with a lot of 8-8 records, and especially from the Eagles.
Ken, let's go to the Cowboys. Dak Prescott comes out of nowhere. Same scenario. 16 game films now. Looked like Green Bay figured him out in the playoffs. What do you think? Gets better or gets worse?
I don't think it's so much about Dak as it is about the rest of that team. The running back, the wideouts that they have, the players, the pieces around him. That's what really, I think, the surprise was last year, was that he was able to feed those guys the ball without having to bring Tony Romo back into the game.
Kenny, they take defensive end Taco Charlton in the first round, the Cowboys do. Soft taco or hard taco, do you think?
I think he's going to be a hard taco. I think he's was a little bit underrated in the draft, but I think he's going to work out great for the Cowboys, much to the chagrin of the Eagles, because I think they might have considered him.
Ken, 7 of Dallas's first 9 picks were on defense, and 3 were cornerbacks. You said they had to get better on defense. Have they?
Remains to be seen, my friend. As Chip Kelly once said, draft picks are like tea bags. You don't know what you got till you put them in hot water.
Ken, last question, and thank you for your time today. In my mind, it's still Dallas at the top of the field. After 16 games, is there a challenger?
To beat a champ, you got to beat the champ. I think the Giants have a shot because they've got a very strong defense. The Redskins are still in confusion. And the Eagles are going to be the team to be watching as the middle part of the season unfolds before us.
It all comes down to injuries, doesn't it, Ken?
Oh, you are so right there, Leo.
Ken, thank you for your time. We appreciate it. And as usual, great job. We'll see you up in Jersey soon.
All right, my friend. Good speaking with you, and hope you have a great day. So long.
Thanks.